Oh man, countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It look like I'm about to have some fun tonight. I got my family here with me, man. I'm fired up. Y'all might have to excuse me tonight. I got somebody telling me, man, that Nyrell want to come on your show. I said, okay, we got to do that. My man, Nyrell Griffith, man. I just call him Nyrell G. How you doing, baby? How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. It feels good to be on your show.
Oh man, it's a pleasure to have you tonight. I'm excited about the things that you're going to share with us about the industry that you're in. And above all things, man, I love hearing success stories about monetizing your passion. You know, I do a show every Thursday night, my Strive Masterclass, and I'm always trying to tell people, because of what we're going through right now, everybody needs some more money. And one of the best things you can do if you got a passion, you may have your job already, but in this case, this is his only job. And that's why I respect you so much for what you're doing, man. So when I stop the music, it becomes official. And I say to you tonight, I think it stopped already on the song. Or did it? Y'all know it didn't. I'm stopping it. Got it. Hey, man, I'm making it official tonight to say, welcome, man. CEO, Fifth Creative. I love that name. I was going to ask you a little bit about that in a little bit.
Please do. Please do.
Okay, I definitely will, man. Well, listen, welcome to the show. And like you said a little earlier, man, nothing like having a passion that you can monetize and do your thing and make it happen tonight. And you've had this business for a minute. So, hey, when I stop the music, it's all the way live. And the big question is this, Nyrell, what is your why? Why you decided to become a filmmaker, a videographer, a photographer? Share that with us tonight. I'm going to lay back, sip my tea, and listen to that.
Okay. So I chose to become a videographer in college. Originally, I was studying engineering. Okay. And of course, as the viewers know, you are my uncle. So my dad, your brother, I told him that I was considering changing my major. Now, going from an engineer to changing a major to being in mass communications, essentially video journalism, print journalism, and things like that. Yeah. He wanted me to stay an engineer. And my experiences in college were just leading me in a different direction. And so early on, I learned that I had another passion. I was part of basically a multimedia organization, a dance group. You know, being a multi-hyphenate, I was intellectual, but I also was creative and artistic. And so we would put on these multimedia performances and entertainment events. And I realized that I enjoyed shooting, editing, telling stories while in college, right?
Man, I gotta stop you, man. Let me stop you right now. You're sneaking some stuff in on me, man. That's a hidden obscurity. You're telling me you was in dance, you was doing music productions, and you were dealing with the entertainment industry, and I never really knew that. I never really got to see my nephew doing what he said. Come on, man. That now you know now, as Paul Harvey would say, I'm getting the whole story. So, so you got that bug in college, like I got the bug. You know, I started playing the nightclubs when I was 16 years old. We'll talk about that now because I don't want to stop you, but I had to stop you because you just sneak something in on me that I had no idea that you were all the way live. Like, you need to elaborate a little bit more about that. So the reason why I'm stopping you is because the viewers and listeners probably don't know that either, that your bug came through the entertainment industry. So in what capacity now? Were you actually a dancer? Were you a choreographer? Were you a performer? What were you actually doing back there in college that got you to take? That's a 360, man. To go from engineering into mass communication.
It is.
I know why my brother, your dad, was probably saying, "Man, what the hell are you doing?"
Yep, he absolutely was. He absolutely was.
Tell me more about that. How did that happen? How did you even get into that arena in college?
So I've always been a street dancer, so break dancing.
Yeah.
And when I got to college, there was an organization on campus that essentially was a dance team. I joined the team as a newbie, as a freshman, and we would perform at homecoming. We would put on our own events. And so eventually, after being involved in that, I became the president. I started as I started as just a team member. Then graduated to being the vice president, helping to coordinate the teams, the practices, get locations, book venues, do everything that an event planner or anyone else would do when it's time to put on a performance or an event. And then I became the president. And so during that during my matriculation through this specific organization, I would shoot, write stories. I was a dancer, so I performed on stage.
Wow.
I was a choreographer. So not only was I learning dances from other people, but I was also creating dances and performing them on stage. And so we would perform at homecoming, in between like the step shows, and sometimes in between basketball games or football games, different things like that.
Man, let me stop you a minute, man. You really, honestly, obviously we see each other, back during the days when you were coming up there in Georgia. I would come up and see her. You would come down to Florida and see us, being
Absolutely.
family, the holidays. And I know we would talk about things like this, but until you just disclose that right now, I had no idea that your first love came from dancing, man. I had no idea. And now, seriously, it really makes me feel even better knowing that you felt your passion. You live your passion. It became an expression of you at a very early age. And the same thing happened with me with music. I went to FAMU and I was an economics major. I finally got my degree in business administration. But to this day, I still wish I would have majored in music. I'm gonna be totally honest with you, because I love music so much. It's still a part of me. I just had a performance a couple of nights ago. I got 3 performances this week. I said to myself, I'll be 80, and if I can still sit on a bench and play my music, I'm still going to do it, because it's exactly what you're talking about, Nyrell. And I applaud you for that, man, because you listened to your heart.
Yeah.
You listened to your heart, and it didn't let you down, my brother.
It didn't. It did not
let you down, man. So I'm so glad that you could stop for a moment. You could share that with us, and at the end of the day, man, that is golden, So that is a very good opener to your why, man. I noticed you went to I think it was Savannah State, and
yes, sir.
A bachelor's, or you
did HBCU.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's right. And were you actually born in the Atlanta area? Where were you actually born? What's your hometown? I know you're living in Georgia, but I know if you're born there in Florida and went up to Georgia. What? Tell me a little bit about that.
I was born in Tampa.
Right.
The Hillsborough Women's Hospital.
Okay.
In Hillsborough County. So I was born in Tampa, but I didn't stay in Tampa for very long. I believe I moved when I was around 2.5, maybe 3 years old.
Gotcha.
And so I found myself in Atlanta by the time I was like 4. We moved to another state and did a few things in that year gap, but ultimately I was in Atlanta, on the east side of Atlanta, by the time I was like 4 years old. And then I moved to the south side of Atlanta and grew up there.
Got it. So you spent, I always call it like the second chocolate city. They always call DC the chocolate city, but Atlanta truly is that, man. So that you really grew up in a totally Black African-American environment, a culture really, your working paradigm of culture has been structured quite different.
Very true. Yes.
Oh, man, I can imagine, and that's really interesting, because one of the questions, since we're going to really just move into things that I was going to ask you about, that you said that social media has been one of the main sources of you marketing and doing what you're doing. And it's always been your main marketing tool. Have you found it by living in Atlanta that you found that was an easier path for you to not have to spend a whole lot of money on marketing, but just use social media? Would you attribute it totally to the fact that it was Atlanta, or say it wasn't Nashville, Tennessee, or Tampa, Florida, or Washington, because it was the Atlanta area?
You know what? You're asking somewhat of a loaded question, or at least a question that I feel like when I answer it is going to be biased, because I grew up here, right?
Yeah.
And so I do believe, only based on what I've heard from other cities and other locations, that my perspective on African American culture, on the ability to navigate as a Black man and an entrepreneur at the same time,
yes, sir,
has been enhanced and has benefited from the fact that I am in Atlanta.
Okay.
Right. So
okay. Now see, here's where it's beautiful to me, because nothing surprised me that you would give me that answer. If it would have been anything contrary, I might have had to lean in and say, what? Because no, man, and every time I come to Atlanta, you got to understand something. Going back all the way, man, to like 2006, 7, and 8, when Rachel Brown, singer who's still working with me, we'll be working together this Thursday and Friday night. The Urban Music Group was our label. We released her single, Let's Fall in Love Again. And we went on a chase, man. And I tell you what, we found an anchor right there in Atlanta. I went to the Billboard Music Conference. We met Beyonce's dad, Matthew. We got to hang out with all kind of people. I came back here, man. I found strategically a way of how to manage what Rachel was doing as an artist. And guess what? We got a #1 single in Billboard. And I will never forget that. And if it had
legendary.
Been, yeah, man. And I tell her that all the time. I say, Rachel, I don't think you understand. You can tell somebody you had a #1 CD single, the single, not the entire CD, but her single, Let's Fall in Love Again. And I will never forget looking at Billboard, and I saw Michael Jackson, Beyonce. We saw all those people, and sitting right there atop all that was Rachel Brown, man. So I said to myself, wow, and I attributed to exactly what you said. It wasn't until we moved and we had to just say, man, we're going to Atlanta. We're going to hang out up there this week. And you are totally quantifying that it's your environment.
Yeah.
And one of my mentors, man, one of his good friends who's sort of a friend of mine, and I highly advise you to get this book, man. It's called Shift Your Brilliance, and his name is Simon T. Bailey, man. And every week I'm always finding somewhere in our conversation, this would come up. He said this, and one of my mentors, one of my people said it too, and it stays with me forever. Relationships will always be the new currency. And you just put it out there. Because I'm sure you could have moved. You could have came back down to Tampa. You could have went wherever it is that your life journey would have taken you, but you got the vibe. You stayed there in Atlanta and you made that work. Now, as a mass communications major, let me ask you something. Has it always been your interest to just be, quote unquote, behind the camera? Have you ever thought about, because you could probably be a journalism an anchor on a news show or something? Have you ever had that little bug ever even crossed the path from you getting your degree in that mass communication?
In the traditional sense, no. But as you alluded to, the onset and the influence of social media, that does shift my perspective on being on camera talent. Again, because of social media, almost everyone needs to be comfortable enough and willing to get in front of the camera, right? If you're going to promote yourself, if you're going to promote a brand, if you're going to promote a business, you got to be willing to get in front of the camera. Right. Now, when it comes to like a news anchor or a video journalist, I'm not opposed to the idea. I'm not opposed to it. I kind of sometimes let the work dictate what's necessary of me and what kind of tools that I have in my bag, so to speak, and what I will utilize for certain situations or certain productions or projects. So I'm not opposed to it, but I've never endeavored to be in front of the camera. I've always endeavored to be behind the camera, kind of an intellectual, curating the message, telling the story, crafting the story, and then executing it.
It sounds just like Joel Osteen talking about 17 years he was behind the camera for his dad like that. But obviously his father passed away and he had no choice but to take the baton and run with it, but he didn't. But the reason why I had to ask you that question, man, because you were telling me your ass was a dancer, man. You were telling me you was, popping and jipping and all that kind of stuff. I said, but buddy might still have something inside of him that he just might want to still do that, So I had to ask that question. If you look over some of the Q&As I sent you, that was one of the main, I thought about that. And now, when I thought about that question, it really had nothing to do with what was the hidden obscurity in this conversation. I had no idea that your first love was like that. So here's another question, man, that's all about what we're talking about. And it's kind of deep because I'm loving it, man, because I'm so huge on monetization of a passion. It's something I call the P3 theory, Nyrell, that I think sometimes just by default, people tend to overlook the reality that innately, intrinsically, inherently inborn in all of us is something we're supposed to do. It's already, God has put it in you. Now, what you got to do is activate it. You got to let the universe come full circle, bring it to you. So my question to you is, when did you say to yourself, oh man, I can monetize this? Oh man, I can make money with this. When did you even start to get saved? I remember as a speaker, I remember as a professional musician, I remember as an author, I remember all these highlighted moments in my life on certain levels where someone handed me a check and I said, wow, they're paying me for my IP, baby. They're paying me for my intellectual property. So when was that aha moment for you? When were you? I mean, excuse me, where were you? You know, how old were you? And what was the situation like? Replay that for us. The first time they said, here, Nyrell, here's the check for the night.
Okay, so now you're asking a specific question, which is when did I realize that I could earn I don't want to say exorbitant amounts, but
No, it don't matter. The first time somebody paid you for your craft and you said, wow, and you said, aha, man, my first speaking gig paid me $75. My
okay.
first gig as a musician gave me about $50. Now let me fast forward. And one night I did a gig and they gave me 4 digits, high 4 digits. You know, when somebody handed me a $7,500 check and I only talked for 20 minutes, that's when I knew that, oh boy, I can monetize this passion to speak. I can monetize this. So yes, of course, you want to talk about the etiology, Nyrell. We want to hear when the first one came and you said, oh, I can get paid to do this. When was that? Where were you? How did that feel?
Okay, so I've got 2 answers to that question.
Okay.
2 different instances because I feel like both of them were paradigm shifts, if you will. Okay. So the first one, to immediately answer the question, I would say that I knew that I could monetize my passion before I ever graduated college. I was already utilizing my talent, the talent of videography and production on campus, right? So that's kind of the beauty of being at a HBCU, understanding the culture. We were throwing these events and we were charging the students to come in. So, you know, I would shoot something, tell a story, choreograph some dances, put it all together, and then sell tickets. So I was already monetizing my passion before I ever graduated college.
Wow. Boy, look at you, man. Look at, man, I ain't mad at you, boy. You listen to your spirit, man. I'm loving it. I'm literally loving this, man. I mean, I knew about you doing little things like that. You used to come home and we'll every year, man. God, mom is going, but that was our hub. We went to mother's house and everybody came down from all over the country and we had Thanksgiving there. And like, you know, just like we did at your house a couple of years ago for my brother, man, for your dad, you know, and it felt great just to have family and be that way. You would share some things like that, but I never knew that it went as far back as you being a freshman, a sophomore in college, and someone, and then here you are, you're really, my brother, you're an organizer. You're a curator. You're the guy who's saying, hey, let's do this, let's market this, and let's go for this. Now, I mean, but social media wasn't like it is now back then.
No, it wasn't.
Exactly. So that is like, so your aha moment came from what? You just word of mouth selling tickets and saying, hey man, we doing this show over here at blah, blah, blah place. Come on out. That was it?
Yeah, pretty much. It was reputation. And again, mind you, I joined an organization that already existed. So this wasn't me doing it. I wasn't the first within my organization to do it, but I saw the system, right? And I bought in, and then I continued to execute.
Hey, you say the word that I have to kind of intervene and tell you. When you said you found a what? System. You found the system. And Maru printed out something the other day. It was talking about the 5 things that anyone can do to become successful. And it spoke clearly about you find a blueprint. That blueprint becomes your foundation. That foundation and that blueprint becomes your system. And one of my mentors said this to me, and you know, just like it was with Simon T. Bailey, when he said relationships will always be the new currency, Greg. Let nobody fool you. And I'm talking about a guy that's a high-end executive for Disney, making big money and hell, just like you. He said, no, I want to get out here. I want to do my thing. And he learned how to be a great communicator. And then this other guy who I worked with for years and got away from him and came back, James Melanchad, he said, this is the acronym, my brother. Save yourself time, energy, and money. System. And if you want to pluralize it, systems. And he said,
I like that.
Like you, yeah, man, but it's reality. You saw the system, you sat down with it, you navigated the system, and then you monetize it. You know, and I don't even know your age right now. It's not even important, but that's probably been 10, 15 years ago in your life. And look
Yeah,
at you, man. I mean,
absolutely.
you're dealing with it. And for me, honestly, having this kind of conversation tonight, I truly hope, as the GG Factor is truly all about, to inspire you, to empower you, to inform you, to educate you about what it feels like to activate and function at your maximum potential. And I applaud you tonight, nephew, because you're
Thank
telling
you.
everybody out there, if you get the bug in you and you feel it. And let me tell you something. I told you I watched a little bit of TD Jakes earlier with Oprah, right? And I think that was God sent that I would see a conversation, a podcast like that, and sort of have it be a part of this platform tonight. Oprah, for a long time, like she said, man, had to keep plugging, keep plugging. She talked about exactly what you just said to her. She remember when she just got a few $100s a week. Then she remember when she got 22,000. And then she remember when her and Gail just said, woo, because she got $250,000 from 25,000, 10x her scale all the way up. And she said, I never look back. And she said, I know when I walk in the room, I own it.
Yeah.
And she said, because everybody talking about that imposter syndrome. And there are a lot of people, let's face it, Nyrell, they're not finding who they are. So they just try to pretend to be something they're really not. And they get in environments, they get in situations where they can't really manifest their greatness because it's being camouflaged. You know, it's obscured, you know, and at the end of the day, what I think happened for you at a very early age, man, you know something that happened for me the same way, man. See, I started playing in nightclubs at 16. Your auntie Fern was but 12 years old now, real. I don't know nobody ever told you that.
No, nobody told me that.
Oh, man, Fern was 12 years old. I was 16. There was a club called the Oasis out there on Del Mabry in Tampa, man. And all the local bands and everybody played there. And Nelson, your daddy, set up an off night for us to go in there and just pick up a gig, so to speak. And man, we all learned our songs together. We all got together, man. And Fern was our front girl. She had one of them big old Foxy Brown afros, my brother. And she had them hips already flying high like Beyonce when she was just 13. And she wore these little tie up to the top, little blouses and a little hips out, man. And Fern, boy, let me tell you something, man. Her tag says what I tell her all the time, born to sing. Yeah. She will always be the great one to me. If you read one of my books, you'll see that I talk about Ruby Baker, the great one. I could talk about all kind of people, but I talk about my sister because let me tell you something. She's just like you at 12 years old. And, you know, whatever she would do in the rest of her life, I told her this, but God gave you something. Because she always said, oh, man, I didn't go to college and I didn't go and get my degree. I said, guess what you did do? You got the College of Hard Knocks. You got the IP, baby. And when you got it like that, just like I feel like I'm talking to you about this right now, man, I'm so impressed with the realities of you acknowledging how something came inside of you. You had a degree going in one direction. You went 360. You went another one. The next thing you know, you're monetizing it. So when I tell you, I'm feeling you, that when we would get back then, a little $50 a night check was like $1 million to us, man.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. Yes.
Tell you something. When you do something and you don't think about the money and you still get paid anyway, you have arrived. You have arrived, man. So with that in mind, I'm gonna say this to you, man. I want you to put this in perspective now that you're really a CEO. This is your company, Fifth Creative. I want to know this. What percentage of the work you're doing right now could you sort of say it's delegated to videography? How much of the work is photography, and how much of it is film work and documentary? What are you doing the most of now? And which one of those out of the three will be your baby? Which one you would tell me right now? I know that's a loaded question, but I got to let you come straight with me on that.
Okay. Let's talk about the percentages first.
Yes.
Videography, I would say, just general videography, large companies, small companies, any genre you can think of, because I do this sort of work in a wide variety of aspects and genres. I would say that videography is about 85% of my work. Photography is my foundation. Photography is the vehicle that I use to learn the basics of videography.
Yeah.
But currently, and in this current phase of my life, photography is not something that I do a lot of. So I would give it about 5%. And then when it comes to feature length films and contributing and being on set, shooting as a DP or a camera operator or something for films and television work, that would be about 10%. So I would say 85% is just general all-purpose videography. There's a lot of things that fall under that umbrella. And then 5% of it is photography, 10% is film, feature-length film type of stuff.
Let me ask you a question, because that's very well we're talking about right now. First and foremost, man, so 90% of your work is you're a videographer. That's your thing.
Absolutely, yes.
That's your thing, and that's a very good thing to do, man, because everybody out here got to get somebody behind the camera for them. And speaking of that, I hope you did, like I said, about networking to Dr. Myron Edmonds. If shame on you if you haven't contacted him yet. I'm just gonna
please forgive me. Please forgive me. I have not contacted him yet, but he is on my to-do list, and anything that I put on my to-do list, I 100% execute. It's getting done.
I'm just
no
shooting
question
at you
about
like
it.
that. But here's the reason why I'm saying that. That is the power of relationships.
Yes.
In a conversation with him, and go back and watch the episode when you get a minute. I know you're busy. We're just sitting there talking and having a general, just like this conversation. He was on the show a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that he was coming to me from New York City. I actually thought, I said, well, you know, every time we would go and check out our mentor and have our meetings together, that is how I met him, through networking with Brendan Boyd, who's a big-time podcaster, a guy out there on social media doing his thing, and him and I kind of connected, and so did Dr. Edmonds, and Myron connected with, and even before he started saying doctor and all of those things, all I knew him was Myron.
Mm-hmm.
Thought he was in New York City, in Harlem, in the Bronx somewhere, man. He right there in the ATL. So so speaking of what we talked about a little earlier, the reason it came up, I said, man, my nephew right there, and guess what he does? He's a videographer. He said, he leaned in like this. He said, bro, that's God speaking. You know, I need a videographer right now. So you can sleep on it if you want, Nyrell.
No, trust me, I'm not.
If somebody else could be knocking on his door right now, but all jokes aside, he's moving and shaking, bro.
Mm-hmm.
He's moving and shaking, you know, and he inspired and empowered me, because if you just watch him, he's the epitome of what we're talking about tonight. Your dad, my brother, I don't know where my life would be without your dad, bro. You hear me? I don't know where Gregory Griffith might be in his life if it wasn't for the inspiration and motivation and the empowerment that your dad, my brother, gave me. You know, and Uncle G can say this to you respectfully. I'm talking about since 6 years old. I'm 71 years old, man. And I'm telling you, 60 years ago in my life, your dad went away to FAMU. I said, I'm going to FAMU.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad got in the March of 100. I'm going to get in the 100.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad played trumpet in the 100. I'm going to play trumpet.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I didn't know where the hell my dad was. You're blessed, man. You're blessed when you can wake up and know that somebody's around like that at any stage of your life. And here's the point I'm making. I wonder what would have happened with me if I didn't have that kind of inspiration early in my life, if I hadn't gotten the kind of bug I got in my life, if I didn't have someone who went away as a role model, came back in that orange and green black man marching down Central Avenue, man. And I said, boy, I can't wait. It was always a non-negotiable. Honest, yeah. I'm telling you the truth. And then when I got in Middleton High School's band playing trumpet, and Nelson gave me his trumpet, when he got out of college and came home, he put it in my hand, and I was 12 years old, man. And fast forward all the way through middle school and all of that, I just love music, man. And then just think, 4 years later in my life, I get a band of my own. My brother starts my own first band.
Wow.
Woo! And that's what I'm telling you. When you got inspiration around you, you know, and I'm gonna talk about that in a minute, but my wife just poked at me and said, you didn't say nothing about your books. You just talking about you and Nyrell. And I got to remind people that I'm an author and a speaker, that I have a master class every Thursday night. Won't be this Thursday night because guess what? My intellectual property is taking care of me. I'll be out getting activated. I'll be out taking time management and performing, all jokes aside. So it won't be a class on this Thursday, and it probably won't be one obviously next Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. But I want people to know I'll be making a special announcement, and when those shows will be, but by default, these books are available. I have the Get Activated community. I want people to know that I'm running a special, man. I usually do $97 a month. I'm giving it to them for $49.99. I just want people to come into the camp. I want people to understand that you are my example tonight, and I'm so glad I got you here with me. When you love it, you can monetize it.
Yes.
When it's your P3 theory, when it's your passion and your purpose, the universe will, what will it do, Nyrell? It'll hear you.
Yeah, it'll provide. Yes.
My nephew right now, he's talking about it. Like my body spoke to me, man. I've run 25 marathons, 25 of them. And I remember, listen to me, IG, listen to me, YouTube, listen to me, Facebook. I remember when I couldn't run a mile, but I got the bug. I got the passion for running. And I was already over 40 years old, man. And so I want people to come into my camp, the Get Activated community, because if you come into the Get Activated community, then maybe you might want to run your first marathon. Maybe you might want to get your first book. Maybe you might want to be like my nephew and I are going to talk about right now, because I was going to save it till I mention it. You might want to become a real estate investor. So that's, something that tonight I can tell anybody. All of those things are in my camp. My intellectual property becomes yours. So unconditional plug. If you're watching us tonight, I have it right there on the screen. All you really need to do is just go in and click the Get Activated community under theactivator.net. The link is right there. You can click it. And I'm speaking truth to you tonight. No matter where you are, it's never too late to manifest your greatness.
Yeah. I want to say something really quick.
Go right ahead, man.
In regards to being on this show, having you interview me, us being able to have this conversation, and talking about inspiration. You mentioned how my dad inspired you.
Totally.
And I want people, whoever's watching this, to know that you, Uncle Gigi, have inspired me. And not just me, but my other siblings as well. Of course, everybody grows up, you have two sides of the family. You've got your mom's side, you've got your dad's side, right? Yeah. Every time I would come to Tampa and just see the collective of my dad and his siblings, and of course, Uncle Gigi being included in that collective, I was always in awe. And I feel like I am a product of being able to be inspired by you. Inspired by my dad and my aunties, Aunt Linda, Aunt Fern, Aunt Pansy, right? You guys showed us that being entrepreneurs is possible. Not only is it possible, but in some regards, it's even considered the standard, right? I don't know any of my aunties and uncles that weren't entrepreneurs, that weren't go-getters, that weren't protectors, that weren't great orators. The way you and Aunt Linda and Aunt Fern can just get up in front of crowds of people and speak. That's inspirational. For the viewers out there, my Uncle Gigi, he don't just talk. He's not just nice suits and fancy words. Like, he really is out here doing it, really out here getting it, really running marathons. You're like an Iron Man. You're Iron Man for us, right?
You,
so
you're giving me something to hold on to continue to be that too, man. But thank you so much for sharing that, because I just wanted the people to know that when the whole world turned their back on you, you should be able to come to your family.
100%.
And we as a people still have an issue with that. I heard a guy, I don't even know who he was. It is so relevant to what we're discussing. He was talking about the reality. She was talking about it. So two people talking about the same thing on two different little posts. One was talking about how you give everything in the world to your kids, and they turn around and they just give you what to kiss. And then the other one was talking about you done everything you're supposed to do, move on and live your life and do what you need to do, and just try to be the inspiration that you really want to be to people along the way. And let me tell you something, man. That's all I tried to be to both my sons, to Greg Jr., to Jonathan, to my granddaughter Alyssa right now, because Nelson really poured that into me. I got to meet my biological father at the age of 50, man. And I had almost 10 years with him. It was right here at my home on 4th of July, just a little over 10 years ago. We were here, my whole family having a great time, and I never would have known that would be the last time I would be in an environment with him where we would be able to converse. He had a stroke. He went in the hospital a month later. God called him on at 87. So for you to be able to be here like this tonight, man, for you to say the things you just said about me, man, and you know, Jonathan's cousin, his first cousin, who is now a real estate mogul, I'm talking about, and he still works for corporate America. He still works for corporate America, and he's built an entire community in Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's built that.
Wow.
He's selling the mortgages to those homes. He's built a community of development downtown for dormitory living. His name is Chris Kamek Estates. And he said, man, it gives me chills now. He said, Uncle G, I'm only doing this because I saw you.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Uncle G, I'm not lying to you, man. I would come home, and every time I came home, you had a new vehicle. Then one time I came home, you had that Mercedes. And I said, whatever the hell Uncle G doing? And he told me that. He jumped in, and then he came home about 4 or 5 years later. I gave the other Mercedes to Gigi, and I bought an S63, man. You know, and let me tell you something, and I'm telling you the truth, but this ain't no bragging rights. When I went to pick that car up, and it was on the showcase floor, and you sit there in that car, and the glass went up, and I'm sitting there in an S63 AMG, $150,000 car, and you know why I'm telling you this right now? This is no BS. I remember when I owned a 62 Chevy that cost me $200. And I bust my ass for it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was 16 and I bought that car. I remember that car got us around to some of our gigs sometime. That car back then when gas was 25 cents a gallon, my brother, my nephew, 25 cents a gallon. And the point I'm trying to make to you is this. I always had my eye on the prize.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, and your daddy, when he was buying all them houses in Tampa and taking me around and watching me do what he was doing, the same inspiration you got from me, I got from Nelson. And he knows that to this day, man. I don't know where my life would be without him. That's why family first, no matter what. Yeah, you're going to have highs. Yeah, you're going to have lows. Yeah, you're going to have the mountaintop. Yeah, you're going to have the valley. But if we could all just be an inspiration like you and I sitting and talking about tonight, man, it makes me feel good to know that I can say that some part of me, some part of my legacy is to my family all the way in now. And every night when I kneel down, man, I pray for my sons, I pray for my wife, and I pray for, because I can't say them all, and all my nephews and nieces.
Mm-hmm.
Man, because you guys, like, you know, when we were in Atlanta a couple years ago, man, because, obviously, your dad is dealing with a lot of health concerns and a lot of things going on with him. So for me, anytime I can and be around and have the time with him, like when I was home last, Gail had made a transition, and we all, me and Nina and Linda and Nelson just went out, man. And I sit there and I looked to my right, and he was there with me. And I said, dear God, you're keeping him here for a reason.
Yes.
You're keeping him here for a reason. He's still going to be inspiration. He's still going to be motivation. And obviously, he clearly has been someone who's been right there for you guys in a whole lot of ways, man. So speaking of that tonight, I'm glad we could segue into it. Thank you for sharing that, man, because let's talk about that right now, because I can't realize, man, we almost 40 minutes into this and not even paying attention. But here's the point. You now, as an entrepreneur already in the videography industry, you've disclosed to us that that's primarily your way that you do this. And you decided, and I don't know, you got to tell me. I know you guys made a very big purchase in the Atlanta area. I want you to share the etiology of that, but share even before that you got the bug. And was it the same kind of bug that I got? Because you saw your dad doing it. I saw my brother doing it, and I decided I can do it. And the rest is pretty much it's history, man. So could you just 100%. Share a little bit about that? I would like to know how you done it. Lil Nelson, Nevin, Nyrell, Nilisha, Nina, everybody who's on the camp with you. That's it. I'm speaking of that, my friends, because that's all his brothers and sisters, and that was about half of them. So at the end of the day, talk to me about that, man. How did it come around for you? How did you even get into the part of your life now as an entrepreneur, as a real estate investor? I'll share that with our audience right now.
100%. It was directly connected to my dad. Okay. I have to give him 100% of the credit for it.
Not surprised.
Yeah. Now, from an inspiration perspective, like I said, it's all of you. But my dad was the catalyst. He instilled in me, but also in my siblings, the understanding that number one, you're capable. Number two, he groomed us to be prepared to manage, own, and understand the means by which you can acquire real estate.
Yes.
So the knowledge and the skill both originate with him. Now that manifested in a number of different ways. Of course, as a younger man, we would do small things like cut the grass on some of the rental properties that he owned and various things like that.
Yes.
Eventually it moved into collecting rent and different things. He allowed me to live in and manage a duplex here in Atlanta. And so that's where I kind of sharpened my skills and learned the ropes of being a landlord.
Stop right there, man. People need to hear this. They need to hear this. My dad purchased a duplex, put the duplex in his hands, allowed him to monetize one side, live in the other side, and learn the full game about what it means to be what? An investor on the micro manageable level of it. See, I did a little different than you. The first property I bought was an 8-unit building with a laundry room to the back. So, and I went, and everybody thought I was wacko and crazy to do that. But I knew from watching Nelson and what was being offered to me that I could do it. And look what you did, man. You took that. How old were you? What, 18, 19, 20? How old were you when you were already out of college, right? At that point.
At the point when I moved into that multifamily property, I was out of college. I was in my early 20s, probably 22.
Okay.
And so I was about 22. Yeah.
Got it.
I was about 22.
So let's fast forward a little bit for the sake of time.
Yep.
Now, I know you got that duplex. Then did you I think you told me you went out and acquired maybe one or two of your own, right? You're in that position right now as we speak, correct?
Yeah. So to fast forward and jump to another major kicker, and see, I'm gonna tell you now, you getting some exclusive information right now.
Okay.
But we have, and you know what? I won't be too specific, but I will say that we do. And when I say we, I'm talking about me and my siblings.
Correct.
We have jointly invested into a series of multifamily quadruplexes at this point. And so, like I said, I don't want to give too much of the exclusive because that is a story that we are actively telling on another YouTube channel. It's called Trap Out the Bando. So
I was just going to say, go ahead. Wait a minute. We got to make sure this is your platform, baby. Take your time. Tell somebody what y'all doing on YouTube also, that they can come along and they can follow you and understand from an entrepreneurial perspective what you guys doing. Now, we don't have to keep this hush hush. This is your platform because what you're going to do with that, see, I already know what's up, but I want you to let the audience know because what you need to do is this for me also. I need you to back that up. I don't want you to casually talk about that. I want you to tell me the etiologies of how, what condition, when, and what motivated you all. How did you even acquire those 4 quadruplexes? How did you all get them?
Okay, so the how and the why, again, and influenced by our dad, we wanted to shop in off-market areas for real estate. And so we occasionally invest in bank foreclosures, and we also occasionally invest in tax foreclosures when it comes to acquiring property off market. And so we were watching the market here in Atlanta for some time, and an opportunity presented itself. And so when you have been a student of an industry and studied and have done your research, you want to be prepared for opportunities, right? You have to prepare for them. It's not like the opportunity presents itself and then you are able to meet it. You have to already be there.
Be ready.
And the opportunity comes to you, right?
Absolutely.
And so it was one of those situations. It was kind of like a perfect storm, if you will. We had already been watching. We knew it was something that we wanted to get into. and the opportunity presented itself. And so we ended up investing in, again, a series of quadruplexes. And our journey is being documented and posted on a YouTube channel. It's called Trep Out the Bando, TREP out DA the Bando. And
Bando,
the TREP,
BANDO, Bando.
correct, BANDO.
Trip out the Bando, you said. Well, deal. Okay. Well, listen, here's what I got. First off, there are a few things here that we need to discuss because I want to save the last maybe 10 or 15 minutes for strictly about the reality of what we're discussing now. See, people don't understand that real estate is king. I got a book. I'm gonna just put my title out there now, but I'm gonna be doing it when I'm ready. Equity is king. I don't care what nobody say. Equity is king. Equity is king. And the reason why I'm saying that is this. When equity is king, equity is also net worth. And also that gives you financial leverage. So what you're sitting there telling me, which is very interesting, is this, that you found a property as a team, you and your siblings, and you went out, you found properties. They were distressed properties, if I'm not mistaken, right? In the condition when you found them, they were distressed properties. Now, for the sake of making this story real short, was there bank financing or was it OF?
There was no bank financing.
Boom.
I'm not.
See what I mean? Stop right there, because I got to do this like this. And I don't mean to be abrupt and cut you off, but people don't understand that you can acquire real estate and you don't have to have the best FICO. You can acquire real estate and you don't have to have a big fat bank account. You can acquire real estate and all you got to have is the right desire, find the right property, and you can make that happen, because it happened for me. The very thing that you guys are doing. I bought that 8-unit building with a laundry room in the back, owner finance. The man worked with me. He allowed me to give him what I could give him. He allowed me to take over that property. And at the end of the day, man, I'm here to tell you something, that I wonder if I would have been able to do it if I had to come over with that traditional 20% down. And here's the point I'm making. I kept that apartment building for 20 years. When I sold it, I got the same $250,000 it cost me out of it. And guess what I did with it? I bought a strip mall. So I'm here to tell you, when you all are at that point, and I know you're going to be at that point, you're going to have leverage. You're going to have financial leverage. I could have took that money and just put it in something and just let it and live off the interest. But I'm truly a diehard investor. Not only did I get that strip mall, I bought about 4 or 5 other houses, a condo on the beach. I still got my apartment building up there in Tampa by University of South Florida. And the point I'm making to you is this, man, you just put it out there. You're telling people while you're still working your job, while you still got your house, your family, and everything that you're doing, you decided, and you and Nevin and Nyrell and whoever else is involved out of the camp decided you're going to do this, Nina, whoever else is involved. The point I'm making is you done it. And you didn't let no obstacle stop you. And the only thing, like a teacher told me, who became one of my parents, she was a teacher also, but her kids were my students. And I'll never forget during COVID, man, when I was having a rough time with getting all the technology down and doing it all from home like this, when this was like foreign to me. Get it done. She said 3 words: get it done, Mr. Griffith. Get it done. And I applaud you. I applaud you guys for what you've done, because I know what you've acquired. That's guess what? When they say real estate, what do they say? All the way up. It can't do nothing. It can't do so, man. I'm so glad you shared that. I knew it was on the finance. I just want you to disclose that to our listeners.
Yes.
Because they need to understand that it's not impossible, baby.
Right. Exactly. And that's kind of what I meant when I said it was a perfect storm and it was an opportunity. And when you are prepared, you're able to do things in that way, right? Hey. You don't just get an opportunity to own and finance and purchase property. You have to be studied, right? You have to be prepared and you have to be knowledgeable about what you're investing in. Yes. And one more thing about that specific endeavor, the YouTube channel, because it ties directly into the conversation today. The reason it's called Trep Out the Bando is there's 2 terms in there that are key and important. The first one being trep. That word is is derived from the word entrepreneur.
Uh-huh.
Right. So you take the 4 central letters of the word entrepreneur and you see trep in it. And so when we say trep out the bando, that essentially means make a business out of abandoned property. The second word bando is short for the word abandoned. So that's where the title comes from. And it's all rooted in essentially the same thing that you have just illustrated, described, and exemplify yourself, which is the ability to turn real estate into business, entrepreneurship. You
No
want to
doubt.
trap out the bando. In this situation,
Trip
it's an
out
abandoned
the bando,
building.
right? I'm saying it right. Trip out the bando.
Trip. So not necessarily trip like taking a trip, but
No,
trep
I get it.
like
Because
entrepreneur.
you just put it in proper position. I was wondering, I said, that's a pretty strange name, but it's not strange to you. Now, speaking of that, and we
Right.
can go, I just want to go and come back to real estate, but you told me before you left tonight too that, and we'll get to it maybe near the end, why Fifth Creative. I think I got an idea, but I want to see what you tell me when we get back to it. But to stay with this just a couple of more minutes, here's the thing I want people to understand. And you got to just please, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman right here is living it. I'm twice his age. By the time he gets my age, just as I told both my sons, who one of them has already been a real estate investor for years, Greg Jr. Jonathan is still trying to find his way to dive in because he's working in corporate America. But the point I'm trying to make to you is very simply this. Passive income should be a non-negotiable for every living human being because nobody knows what's going to happen in the job market. We're in a very fragile, should I say, time in this country. 47 and the boys doing what they want in D.C. And that means you need to be the captain of your own ship. You need to know how to set sail in the direction that you want to take. And anyone, I don't care who it is, will tell you how critically important a real estate, should I say, portfolio is. It's almost a non-negotiable that you would have to have that component, not just for the monetary reasons, because let me tell you something too, man. And the tax monster is going to get you, and the way to beat a lot of those taxes is through real estate investment. So when I say to you that I applaud you, Nyrell, that you guys are doing what you're doing, because at the end of the day, you know that when you got passive income and you got access to equity, you automatically have created net worth. I want to say that once again. When you got passive income that you can put in the bank every month, you have a property that's continued to increase in value, that you can go to anywhere and give them a signature and they'll give you money and collateralize that property. You are always going to be ahead of the curve. And I always ask people this, man, and everybody should be working on this as a minimum standard of life that they should just strive for. If you liquidate everything you got right now, can you get $1 million? And if you can't, are you in pursuit of that? And this gentleman right here tonight, my nephew, I know when I talk to him 5 or 10 years down the road, because of what he's doing right now, the way he's doing it, the etiologies he's got, the foundation he's got, man, you all the way live and you're on the way there. And at the end of the day, man, just keep doing what you're doing, especially in Atlanta, GA, where there, Georgia and Texas. That's it for if you're talking about real estate. I mean, really want to get in at low end and take it to the next level. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm into my retirement in a couple of years. I've kind of laid back on just being super aggressive about the real estate investment component because of what I'm sitting here doing tonight. Because I'm really trying to just stay in my lane with building this audience around this YouTube channel, building the audience with the Scribe Masterclass. Obviously, I'm out there still as a speaker. I was just over Florida Gulf Coast University, speaking there for them as a keynote speaker. Can you imagine it? I was in Tampa a few months before that at the high school I graduated from, Lato High School, as the keynote speaker, and I graduated there in 1972. So Nyrell, and my point is, it's my passion. I love inspiring and empowering people. I'm speaking for the National Head Start Association. December 11th. This Sunday, I'm speaking for the youth group at my church. I'm honored to do that. They don't have to give me nothing but time. All I want to do is give back. And the point I'm making is this, man. When you love it, it's going to love you back. My brother, you're an example of that. I thank you so very much for being with us tonight. I said that we'd kick this thing around about an hour. And
Mm-hmm.
we've done pretty close to that right now. And let me tell you something, man. I have absolutely enjoyed every moment of this.
Same.
You know, you're doing it, man.
Same.
And I know the best is yet to come for you, Nyrell. I know, like for instance, you know, it was one of my questions here too, and it was sort of relevant to what we're talking about. Oh, this one is very important. Now, and I got to ask you about this. What advice would you give to anyone who's aspiring to get into your videography business? What would be probably one of the key things that I always like to ask entrepreneurs, that especially young ones like you, my brother, because you're an example that you started young. First and foremost, I know you got the bug to monetize your passion, but what advice would you give to someone that's, should I say, some years behind you, but they got the bug like you got? What would you tell them?
It would be two prongs. The first prong would be to find your why in when it comes to being in the videography industry. In what way, in what regard, in what industry, and why. Once you understand the why, because sometimes passion is great. Passion is like fuel.
Yes. Yes, it is.
And but purpose is like a vehicle.
I think you got to say that again, man. If you remember what you just said, just say that again for me, please, for the listeners and viewers, please.
I believe I said passion is like fuel, and purpose is like a vehicle, right?
Passion is fuel, and purpose is the vehicle.
Yes, and
so with that, and see, I'm gonna piggyback and say it. And with that one comes my P3 theory: passion, purpose, and when you did that, the universe is going to give you the third one, which is possibility.
Possibilities. That's right. Yeah.
It's going to give you possibility, and I don't care what industry, I don't care what you're in, but we're speaking specifically right now about how would you micromanage yourself in the videography industry. And you know something, man, that was, man, that I might have to ask you to text me that, because that no, seriously, that was golden, man.
Thank you. The second prong of that, once you get past the why, your passion, your purpose, of course, it's going to create possibilities, like Aunt just said. And then the second part of that is, my other piece of advice would be to not let what you don't have stop you from starting. So it doesn't matter what camera you start shooting with. If it's your phone, start with your phone. It doesn't matter if you have lights or not. It doesn't matter if you have a microphone or not. Do the thing, and let that be the drive, the passion, the purpose, right? Worry about that, and the rest will come eventually. No one who has gotten into this industry starts off with the best equipment.
No.
So don't and in a lot of ways, I would say don't even worry about a logo and what's my business name gonna be, or I didn't set up my website yet. Usually the best way to start a business, no matter what it is, including videography, is to meet the needs of either people or yourself, right? Start doing that first, filling in that gap, identifying what needs you can satisfy. Be them educational, inspirational, or entertaining. Any of them, they all, find which one you're gonna meet the need for people, and focus on that.
You know something, man? I'm so happy you disclosed that from the perspective of your life and your lifestyle and your lifestyle management. It is critically important for people to understand this, that everything is mindset. Everything. The greatest of the greatest of the greatest tell you, you are what you think. And if you keep saying, oh, I don't have the right equipment, I don't have this, I don't have that, and you just talk yourself out of it. You talk yourself out of it, and then you got to live that imposter syndrome. You're trying to do something you're trying to do something that you think you got on this facade is working, but it's not. Because one thing is that, you know something, man, authentic identity is my AI. Got me?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Not AI. When I
Yeah.
talk about people, not artificial intelligence, authentic identity. And let me tell you
Yeah.
something. Les Brown said it, and I'm gonna put it out there again tonight. The only limitations that exist are the ones you place upon yourself. If you say I can, it's a sure shot that you won't. But like Nyrell Griffith said, if you say yes, I can, if you say yes, I will, if you say yes, I must, then you know something, man, something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen in your life. This gentleman is living it. Boy, you just fired me up tonight, man. Let me tell you something like this. When you say yes, I can, yes, I will, yes, I must, you must trust the process, because all of us
100%.
are work in progress. Trust the process, and we are work in progress. And one thing is absolute, it would never ever change, man. Quitting is not an option.
No, it is not.
It's not an option. So tonight, I've been inspired by my nephew. He don't realize how much he inspired me tonight to understand what it really means to live from a place of passion and purpose and possibility. What it means to stay activated. What it means to get fired up. What it means to keep that faith faculty. The same thing Mr. G done when he had to run those marathons. The monster was on my back. I know the monster was somebody's back, but I want you to know, every Thursday night, come on out. Won't be this Thursday, won't be next Thursday because of the holidays. But you get a free copy of a book. You get me once a month. I got my Stripe. My links are right there in the comments. If you're watching us tonight, they'll still be there for you to get. And remember this, right down there in the corner, theactivator.net. I'm there. It's called Gregory the Activator, the YouTube show. Every week, we're here to inspire you, empower you. Nyrell Griffith, I love you. There's nothing you can do about it, my brother, my nephew. You keep doing what you're doing, because God got big plans for you. Until next week, I'll say this, man. Hey, I'm sorry. You don't want to miss next week. Next week, DJ Silk in the house. Another entrepreneur, a female DJ. We don't have too many of those. But DJ Silk, who was right here in my house about, 20 years ago. Came here and did my 60th birthday, 10 years ago. That was my 60th birthday. I met her, and to this day, I still work with her. Relationships will always be the new currency. So DJ Silk, if you listen, I'm looking forward to you next week, baby. My nephew, God bless you. Keep doing what you're doing. And until the next time, go out and get fired up about something. Go out and get focused about something. And do what? Get activated, because it's either one. You activate or you stagnate. So till next week on Tuesday night, good night to you, Nyrell. I love you, man. Thank
love
you so
too,
much, buddy.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. What a great show. This is one for the ages. This is one for the family.
For sure. Absolutely.
No doubt. Hang in there, man. I'm going to shut it down, but I want to holler at you.
Okay.
Whoa.